What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kill the Credits. I'm Keelan, and today I'm going to be doing a ranking for the entire Halloween franchise, my favorite horror franchise of all time. And the reason why I chose to do this video is for two reasons. Number one being it's October. I want to do some Halloween themed videos. The other thing is that I have a friend named Tyler who just returned to uploading on YouTube after being gone for 7 years. For his first video back, he did a Halloween franchise ranking. He also shouted me out in that video as one of the people who encouraged him to go back on YouTube. I thought it'd be kind of a fun thing to do, sort of like a response, basically write off his coattails and do the same type of video, but also to then pay it forward and tell you guys go check his channel out. If you go watch some of his older videos, he's went to cons and done interviews with people like Danielle Harris, Sid Haig, Dee Wallace, bunch of different people. So he's going to be uploading a lot more now, and I know he's got a bunch of different things in the works. Do yourself a favor and him and go check his channel out. I'll link it down in the description below. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Starting off in the number 13 spot, I'm going with Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Now, I know there's a big cult following for this movie, and the large consensus with Halloween 3 is that a lot of people hate on it. And I will admit that throughout my childhood into my young teen and early 20s, I was on the same wave. I basically talked shit about it, and I kind of threw the baby out with the bathwater in a sense. That being said, I have kind of thrown that thought process out of my mind. I kind of figured, time to shed some of that immature mindset on it and give it a fair shake. I have only seen this movie in totality one time, and to be honest, it just really didn't do much for me. The Dr. Chalice character just was not my cup of tea, to be honest, and we're following him throughout the entire movie, so obviously, because I'm not really fond of his character, that really didn't help the case for this movie. I like the design of the masks. I think the overall concept is really cool. Yeah, I'm not overly fond of this one. I guess ultimately I need my Michael Myers with my Halloween. Otherwise, it just doesn't hit right. A lot of people praise this movie, so I would like to like it. I really would. Maybe there just hasn't been enough time where I've shed that mindset that I've had and am ready to enjoy and embrace what Halloween 3 is. Next up, in the number 13 spot, I have Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. When I was a kid, Halloween 5 was one of the ones that I actually really enjoyed. But as I got older and I rewatched the movies, I started to realize that there were quite a few things about it that I really did not like. For starters, the main issue that I have with this movie is Michael Myers' mask. He's got like the fish mask going on and the neck is all exposed. I really despise that design choice for him. I don't know why they thought that was acceptable or that it looked okay. Obviously, there's also the weird, goofy editing decisions, like with the cops walking and the circus music and the squeaks and stuff. That's overly silly. I also really hate the fact that they just kill Rachel off in the very beginning. I loved her in Halloween 4. I thought she was great. And then they just wipe her out of the universe of Halloween and she's gone. And then we get to focus more on Tina, which I don't really like Tina's character very much. She feels very irresponsible. I also hate that they mute Jamie Lloyd in this movie. I think it really was a disservice to the film, considering Danielle Harris was she's still a good actress, but as a child, she was a very good child actress. And you get to see a lot of that in Halloween 4, and she still does a good job in Halloween 5, but you don't get a whole lot of dialogue from her because she's practically mute the whole movie. This one is also where Dr. Loomis is at his peak batshit craziness. I don't necessarily hate it. I love Donald Pleasance. I love Dr. Loomis's character. There's just something about him in this one that I feel like is just a little too over the top for me. What I will say is that I do like the creative kills in this movie. I like seeing Michael with the pitchfork, the scythe, the little gardening claw. Oh, also, you see Michael's face in this one. He like drops the tear and stuff.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
I get this is where they were like building the Cult of Thorn thing going on, but no thank you. Just keep it. I don't need it. And I don't need to see Michael fucking cry, okay? Just blasphemy. And next up at number 11, I have Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Now, I grew up on the Halloween franchise, but the first Halloween movie that I remember coming out in theaters and I was conscious of it was Rob Zombie's Halloween. And we'll get to that one later. I will have better things to say about that one. But when Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 came out, I was really excited for it because of the way I feel about Rob Zombie's Halloween 1. And while there are some good things about this movie, there's absolutely some scary things. The opening scene is great. We have Laurie. She's being chased through the hospital, and we get the rain, and she's hiding through the desk, and Michael's just like breaking through pieces of the wall and the window and the door and just banging on that small building. That's absolutely terrifying. I love that. We still get the same brutality that we got from the first one. We still get the nasty, raunchy Rob Zombie writing, which I like a good bit of all of that. So that's all great. What really deters me from enjoying this movie more is, number one, we don't really get to see Michael in his Michael suit. He's basically a homeless man with long ass hair. When he does get the mask is heavily deteriorated and ripped up. We see his face by the end of it. Don't remember which version it is, but there's one version of this movie where he fucking speaks.
Die! The fuck?
No, thank you. Get the fuck out of here. He doesn't speak. We don't do that shit. I also don't like what they did with Dr. Loomis's character in this one. They kind of turned him into a dirtbag. And those are mainly the reasons why I didn't like this movie. It's usually one of the ones when I do my yearly binge watch of this franchise that I don't feel too ecstatic about watching. Next up, coming in number 10, we have Halloween Resurrection. Now, Halloween Resurrection is a guilty pleasure of mine. I know that this movie is not everyone's cup of tea. I completely understand. There's clearly a lot of issues with this movie. I don't think anybody can dispute that. Obviously, I hate how they just kill Laurie's character off. She had a perfect send-off in H2O. And then studios do what they do. They want to make more money. They bring her back again, kill her off. And then from there, we get the whole Dangertainment thing. And there's basically a reality show that they're shooting in the Myers house. They don't know that Michael is there. He starts fucking them up. I don't know. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it just because I kind of like the idea of the whole game show in the house. And he just pops up out the cut, does what he does, you know. I didn't think it was too bad, honestly. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. By no means was it perfect. But I think if you're going to do a movie where Laurie's out of the game and we're just trying to carry on the story, I think there's worse concepts that you could have gone with. Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks play the two people running the show, and you know they're money hungry, so they're setting stuff up and staging it. Little do they know the real nightmare and horror is lingering in the shadows. Obviously, the biggest issue with mention to Busta Rhymes is the fact that his character dresses up like Michael, punks Michael out, beats Michael up with kung fu. You know, we get some really rough one-liners in there.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
I get it. It's not good. It's not good. I'll fully admit it. I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you guys that this movie is great. By no stretch of the imagination is this a great movie. But this is my personal ranking. I rank them based on how much enjoyment I get out of them. And I can get a lot more enjoyment out of Resurrection than I can out of the other movies that I listed before. Next on my list, coming in at number 9, I'm going with Halloween Ends. Now, I know this is a hot take. I know a lot of people do not like this movie. I get it. The movie is supposed to wrap up this story with Laurie and Michael, the way it was marketed as the final battle. And even like the trailer looked like there was going to be some crazy fight. And we do get that fight. In the end. I understand people's frustrations, but I like that it's something different. There's so many Halloween movies to choose from. And if you want the type of ending that I think most people were expecting out of Halloween Ends, you can get it in H2O. And you don't have to watch Resurrection. You don't have to pretend that movie even exists. And you can get that sort of conclusion if you want. While the newer trilogy is not perfect and Halloween Ends is definitely littered with its own issues, I still like it. I like Corey Cunningham's character. I like this idea of Michael's been living in the sewer and this transfer of power, and he's kind of like teaching him. I remember coming out of the theater, it was not what I was expecting, but I think overall it's a fun extension of the Halloween universe. It's a fun timeline to watch for what it is. Yeah, I know that's probably gonna be a hot take for quite a bit of people, but sue me. I like it. Coming in the number 8 spot, we have Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Little fun fact about this movie, I hadn't actually seen it until I was in middle school, and it was on Netflix for a period of time. I thought that this is what Season of the Witch was. So I put it on because I was like, oh, whatever, Halloween movie, it's on Netflix, I'll check it out. And it starts playing, and I very quickly realize, I don't know what this is. I've never seen this before. Boom, Michael pops up on screen. I'm like, wait a minute, what is this movie? Which is super fun for me, especially at that age, because I thought I'd seen all the Halloween movies up to that point. So the fact that I discovered a new one was really exciting. I don't think this movie gets enough credit for being as scary as it is. It has one of the better masks of the entire franchise. I don't mind the cast of characters that we follow in this one, but just Michael himself is really brutal and scary, and there's a really good Halloween atmosphere in this one as well. So I've always liked The Curse of Michael Myers for that reason, because it feels like a Halloween movie where some of the other ones in the franchise just don't. And this is also the final installment where we get Donald Pleasance back as Dr. Loomis. He's very old in this one. He's a lot more docile. He's a lot more reeled in, like in the original 2 films. And I like that version of him. I don't necessarily enjoy the Cult of Thorns stuff, although I think the concept is kind of intriguing. Probably could have been done a little bit better. But overall, I do think Halloween 6 is a good Halloween movie, and I think most people don't give it the credit that I personally think it deserves. Next up, coming in at number 7, we have Halloween Kills. Now look, I know this is probably going to be another hot take for a lot of people out there, but I have a lot of fun with Halloween Kills. I understand that there's a plethora of issues with it. Evil Dies Tonight, that whole awkwardness. I know. I saw it in theaters with my family. Everybody was on the same page. It was odd, but I still liked it a lot. I'm not going to lie. I love seeing Michael when he's just angry, when he's brutal. That opening scene with the firemen and Laurie's house is on fire and Michael's just destroying them. I love that scene, and I just love how he just leaves a fucking tear through the town as he makes his way to his house. I just like Michael when he's aggressive. I like when he's killing it, you know? Carnage candy, splatter, blood, all that good stuff. That's when I like Michael the most. So I'm not gonna lie, that is probably a stupid reason to put this above some of the ones I already have named, but I like Michael when he's brutal. If I want to show someone a Halloween movie where people are just getting destroyed, or if I want to watch a Halloween movie where I know there's just going to be a plethora of carnage and ruthlessness, I'm throwing Halloween Kills on. That's it. Evil Dies Tonight. It doesn't. It never will. It did in Halloween Ends, but it's whatever. Up next, coming in at number 6, I've got Rob Zombie's Halloween. I remember watching this movie for the first time as a kid. Michael scared the shit out of me. I'd seen many Halloween movies in the past already. I grew up on them. This version of Michael, kind of like what I was talking about with Halloween Kills, he's brutal, he's ruthless, he's angry. And in this one, he's big as fuck. The guy who plays him, Tyler Mane, he's huge. He's a brute. And he's scary, and the mask looks great. The mask in Rob Zombie's Halloween is one of the better masks. I'd say in the top 3 to 5 for sure. Not a lot of people are a fan of the first 30 minutes of this movie. We get to see Michael as a child. Rob Zombie did his own thing, kind of staging it that way. Not a lot of people enjoy his writing. I won't say that I'm a gigantic fan, but I will say I get some enjoyment out of it. The trailer trash, raunchy Rob Zombie writing, it's funny to me.
I will crawl over there and I will skull the shit out of you.
For a Halloween story, but I will say it's one of the things that set this movie apart from the rest. And when you're watching the entire franchise, like what I'm going to be doing this month, it definitely brings a certain sense of refreshment to the franchise because it's just something different. And, you know, Rob Zombie did his thing. Whether you like it or not, you can't say that it's not unique and that it doesn't set itself apart from the rest. Okay, we're almost done. We're getting into the top 5, and this is where it's the most difficult for me because some of these could be interchanged at any given day. But coming in number 5, I have Halloween H2O. Not unlike a lot of the other installments in this franchise, it comes with many of its own issues. The whole mask debacle with there just being 3 different masks in the film. There's a CGI mask in there. They also show his eyes in this movie as well, which I think is awful. I do like that we get the return of Jamie Lee Curtis in this. You know, this version of her is much different than the newer version where she's not coping very well in that one. H2O, she's still struggling a bit, but not nearly as bad. You know, she's got a new life, she's got a son, she's got a good job, all of those things, but she's still haunted by Michael every Halloween season. We get LL Cool J, a little bit campy. I like the addition of Josh Hartnett as Laurie Strode's son. This is the one where we get the almost perfect ending to the Halloween franchise where Laurie she literally decapitates Michael at the very end, but then studios need to make their money. So in Resurrection, they kind of retconned that and made it to where that guy was actually just an EMT and Michael had swapped spaces with him and nobody was looking and whatever, really stupid. But if you just pretend that Resurrection doesn't exist and you watch H2 and H2O as a trilogy, it's a really good cohesive trilogy with a really firm ending. So I've always liked H2O. I liked seeing that for once Laurie actually steps up and truly fights back. In Halloween and Halloween 2, she would fight back, but she was much more defensive in her position. In Halloween H2O, she's much more on the offensive where she's hunting Michael down. She's ready to go to blows with him. And yeah, for all of those reasons, I've always really enjoyed H2O. Coming in at number 4, we have Halloween 2018. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, how is 2018 in my top 5 or even close to the top of the list? I get it. I get why people don't like this movie. I'll be honest, there's a little bit of bias here. This was the first Halloween film that I got to watch in theaters. I remember being super stoked for it when it came out. It was my senior year in high school. Oh, finally, Michael, he's back to the big screen. This is gonna be my first opportunity to see him on the big screen. So there is a bit of nostalgia or a little bit of bias here when it comes to my opinion on it, but again, this is my own subjective opinion on the franchise. I really like Halloween 2018. I think the idea of ignoring the rest of the sequels and just extending from the original was a great idea. I think following up with Laurie after the first Halloween film, 40 odd years or whatever in the future, was a great idea. I like the kind of direction they brought her character in, where she's never really been able to cope. Michael has literally consumed her whole life and she is not playing games. I also love the extension of her family we get with Judy Greer's character, and we get with I think the granddaughter's name's Allison. We obviously lack seeing Dr. Loomis in this one, but we do have Dr. Sartain, which was Dr. Loomis's understudy, and he kind of like fills that spot. Turns out later on in the movie he's evil, and he's kind of the one that helped Michael break out, and he's obsessed with Michael and obsessed with seeing him in the wild and all this. And I remember being in the theater and seeing him put the mask on, and I always liked the little shot of him in the mask. I know a lot of people hate that, and people thought he was going to try to take over and be Michael, but I really didn't mind that. And then I love how like Michael does not give a fuck about him and ends up smashing his head like a pumpkin in the end. I love the way that they made the mask look. They created a new remodel and aged it. I love the look of this thing in this movie. I love the whole closing sequence with the three women versus Michael, the back and forth, not knowing who's got the upper hand. And then, you know, obviously eventually they trap him in the basement of Laurie's house and they light that fucker up. I remember coming out the theater feeling very satisfied, very excited for what was going to happen in the next two movies. Unfortunately, COVID kind of messed up the timing on those movies a bit, but overall, I think this is a really solid Halloween movie. For those reasons, 2018 is in my number 4 spot. All right, number 3. What will it be? Coming in at number 3, I'm going with Halloween 2. Now, Halloween 2 was another one that I saw on TV a lot as a kid, and I've always really liked it. I've always liked this idea of horror taking place in hospitals. I think hospitals are inherently scary as is, and then when you throw one of my favorite slashers into that setting, it just gets 10 times more scarier. I mean, Laurie's kind of out for the count majority of this film, but we do get to see a lot of really cool sequences, like the hot tub sequence, the sequence when he stabs that lady in the back with the scalpel and kind of like lifts her up. This is obviously the movie where we get the big plot reveal that Laurie and Michael are siblings. Some people like that idea, some people don't. I think they explored both concepts with them being and with them not being siblings, and we've obviously seen what both of those routes look like. It was a nice little twist, if I'm being honest. It kind of gives Michael a reason to continue to pursue her. That's really why I picked Halloween 2 and put it in my number 3 spot. And now we're down to the final 2, and there's only 2 options, so what will I pick? What will it be? Right now, pause this video and comment down below what you think my number 2 and number 1 spot are. And coming in at number 2, I'm going to go with Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Now, I mentioned this movie earlier. I think this is generally in most people's like top 3 spots for Halloween, and for good reason. No Laurie Strode in this one. She's killed off screen in a car accident, and instead we followed Jamie Lloyd, played by Danielle Harris. You would think we'd be lacking a lot not having Jamie Lee Curtis, but Jamie Lloyd or Danielle Harris worked perfectly fine, and especially when you add Rachel's character in there as well, because she kind of offset the things that maybe Jamie's character lacked, being a child. Those two together as kind of a final girl duo completely filled the space. I will say the look of Michael in this one, not the greatest, not the worst. You get like the weird shoulder pad thing going on and his mask looking a little funky. But this one always kind of scared me. There's plenty of scenes where he's like off in the distance in the shadows and you see like part of his face and he's just like walking through fog or smoke or some shit. Nah, stay away, Mike. I think this is also one of the best Halloween films in regards to atmosphere and having that spooky Halloween atmosphere. There's a chill to this movie. I don't know, it just feels like fall. It actually feels like it's the Halloween season. And unfortunately, you don't get that in all the Halloween films, which you would think that would be a necessity. considering what the movie's called and the sort of franchise we're working with here. It is the closest to feeling like the original, in my opinion. And so for all those reasons, I put it at my number 2 spot. And finally, probably no surprise, my number 1 spot is Halloween 1978. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know if I really have to go into too much depth with this, but the original is, in my opinion, by far the best. There's no over-the-top kills. There's really no blood, honestly. It's so simple, but the atmosphere that John Carpenter made in this film is just amazing. There's something so real about the Halloween story, about just this guy who breaks out of an asylum and he kind of just chooses to obsess over one specific person by chance. It just so happens that he crossed paths with Lori and he obsesses over her and he takes out her friends to get to her. And it could be any one of us that could possibly have something like that happen to us. And I think that's what makes it so scary, especially when you factor in the way that the movie ended. You know, Dr. Loomis, he shot him 6 times.
I shot him 6 times.
And he falls off the balcony. And then when he looks down, Michael's gone. And then it kind of like ends with this collage of multiple spots, little shots filmed around the town in different areas. Like, where could he be? And then to be a viewer, to see that movie at the time, and then you leave. He could be in the backseat of your car. He could be following you home. That's scary to me. I wish I could have had that experience. I wish I could have been my age now in 1978 just to see the movie. And then I could come back here because I love living in the now. But I think that having that personal experience would have been so much fun, and I wish that I had the opportunity to do that. Oh, we also get the introduction to Jamie Lee Curtis, who does a fantastic job, and she went on to have a great career, still a very strong career. The soundtrack in this movie is phenomenal. John Carpenter absolutely killed it. There's just something so special about this movie. I think many people can relate. I don't even think you could have Halloween, like the season Halloween, the holiday Halloween, without Halloween. It just wouldn't feel like Halloween. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot of Halloweens going on, but I think most people can understand what I'm saying. If I don't watch this movie at least once during October, I don't feel like I had a good Halloween season. But yeah, that is my ranking of the entire Halloween franchise. I'm sure my list varied widely compared to many others. That's what's so great about movies and perspectives and opinions, is that we're all going to have a different experience and we're all going to feel a little bit different. And we might have some similarities and we might feel the same about certain things, but you're going to be hard pressed to find someone that has the exact same list as you. Be sure to let me know down in the comments what your ranking is, just so I can see where we differentiate. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. As always, please be safe, everybody. Enjoy your Halloween spooky season, and I'll see you guys in the next video.